Welcome to Starbucks.
Hi! Can I do a grande iced matcha with oat milk and then a little bit of honey? Thank you. Hi, my name is Sierra. I hope that this rain can provide an aesthetic sound during this video because it's currently sunny out. I don't know how it's raining, so I'm sorry if you can't hear me that well. But hi, I'm currently a nursing student, but not for long. And I have been documenting my experiences and sharing my journey with you guys, and I'm so excited to continue sharing more. This rain is really loud, so I'm sorry. I'm out and about just running some errands. I have some stuff to do, but I kind of wanted to sit down and give you guys a brief update and chit chat about what the heck is going on in my life. If you've been watching my videos, you probably have an idea. I wanted to specifically do this to talk with you guys and share about the experiences that I'm having, because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about these and it didn't get discussed in my school, and I hope that I can maybe shed some insight on some of you guys that are coming up in the end of your nursing school journey, or some of you guys beginning it and entering it, and giving you some information to think about. So I will officially be graduated in 4 weeks. Yeah, that's freaking nuts. And so something that is super interesting, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know this, and then I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that don't know this, but you can actually get a job before you finish nursing school. So before you finish school and before you pass the NCLEX, a lot of facilities will start interviewing candidates and have you hired on and complete that whole like onboarding process, because you have to do your background, your drug screen, you know, it's a hefty time consuming process. So it makes sense that they want to start it before like you're actually ready to work, so that when you're actually ready to work, you can hit the ground running. I do want to mention that everything I'm about to tell you guys is all dependent upon where you live, the facility that you're applying at, things like that. So where I live, which is on the West Coast, a majority of the hospitals have something called a new grad residency program. There's different names for it, but basically it's something specifically made for new grads, new nursing students, and it's set up to help prepare you as a nurse and give you almost like more clinical hours and clinical time with a preceptor for a specific amount of time. It seems like the common amount of time here is about 3 months, 4 months, 12 to 16 weeks. The actual residency program lasts an entire year. After those initial 3 to 4 months of you working, you are on your own. Obviously, depending on how you're excelling or if you need more time or things like that, you can finish it quicker or it can be extended. So you get a job, you graduate, and then you start working at a hospital or kind of wherever you want to start working, and you're in this new grad program, and it helps you get acclimated to the environment and learn all the things that you never learned in nursing school. So anyways, we're gonna back it up. I know like I need to apply for a job. I've known that. I just did not know how soon you can begin applying for jobs, and I truly only think that it works in your favor the sooner that you apply. So to kind of put things in perspective, there were facilities, hospitals close to where I live that were taking applicants in March for these new grad programs that don't start until August. That's a pretty big amount of time in between when you apply and when you officially start. And some of them have deadlines. So after a certain date, you can't apply. I don't know how that works after that. That's out of my spectrum of knowledge. But it's really interesting because every facility is different. So every hospital's new grad program would open up at different times and then would close at different times. And then when you start looking into specialties besides medical or surgical, it gets even more complicated because they open up for like shorter windows of time. And it's really, really important to be aware of that and keep an eye on that. So this got discussed in my school like after the fact. We had a guest speaker come in and talk about interviewing and our resume, and it was great. She was a great speaker, but it was too late for all of us. Like, she should have came last term. And I'm not saying I'm not grateful for her, I'm just saying the timing of it, because it should have happened a while ago. That is kind of why I want to talk to you guys about this. I hope you guys know of all of the facilities and hospitals that you're interested in applying for. The more the merrier, absolutely. You should always just be checking those websites and seeing job listings and openings for new grad resident positions. I was genuinely checking the hospital websites every single day. And I had a group of my friends and we were all doing it, so we were all, you know, communicating with each other about it and holding each other accountable, like, hey, have you applied yet? So that was really helpful. But another thing to keep in mind is if you have multiple nursing schools where you are, you guys are all kind of graduating at the same time, so you're all applying for those positions, and it's intense, it's a lot. So that's the first thing that I want to make people aware about, because I wasn't aware about this, and I don't want somebody to miss an opportunity to apply for a job or just feel like they're behind and doing everything late. So just be aware of that on your last year of nursing school, that you are going to be applying for jobs prior to graduation. And to get hired, they have you sign the acceptance letter and give you the offer and all of that. And it's on the contingency that you will pass the NCLEX, you know? And facilities are aware that not everybody passes, and some are much more flexible with that, and they will talk to you about that if something like that happens. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of what I know. To get into the juicy details of my life, I have documented my nursing school experience from the very beginning. Like even from before I got into nursing school, and I promised myself that I was going to be transparent and honest with you guys throughout the entire process. That is exactly what I want to do when I share with you guys how my interviews went and just kind of how I was feeling and what happened, and any advice that maybe I could give you going into your interviews and things like that. When you're initially applying, obviously I hadn't graduated school yet, but you need a resume. This woman that was a guest speaker to my class, who was awesome, even though it was kind of late, she brought up something that I thought was super interesting, and I want to share it with you guys because I think it's a good point. She said, regardless of anything, you should keep your resume one page. I know it's hard, especially for people that have like a ton of work history, if this is like your second career or something like that. But she was head honcho lady of some hospitals, and she's seen thousands and thousands of resumes, and she threw a fact at us, like the average person spends, I don't know, it's several seconds looking at a resume and then they put it down. So like having multiple pages is just not necessary. That's my personal opinion, and I agree with her, but you are obviously free to do whatever you want. I think having something, you know, kind of short, clear, and concise and to the point of your work history, and just kind of showing them who you are. Like, they know that you're interested in this position. I have an account on Canva. I'm not sure if you guys know of it. It's this really cool website where you can just design a bunch of stuff, and they have templates for resumes. You obviously don't have to use Canva. There's so many resources out there, but I found this really cute template for a resume where I even got to put like a little picture of myself. And I promise I'm not saying that like in a conceited way. It's, I guess in my head I was like, wow, there's a ton of us graduating right now, and we're all applying for this position that's like accepting 2 people. They're gonna have like a stack of resumes, and so when they see mine, I want them to remember like my name with my face, you know? Especially because so many interviews were happening over Zoom and like online and stuff like that. I found this cute template and I just like made it my own and like tried to show my personality through my resume. So I would recommend doing that, because I think that could have worked in my favor for my interviews. I went to these facilities and I applied for these positions, and as you guys know, I have had a great experience in the ER, the ED, the emergency department. It's where I feel most, I don't know, like at home. I feel most comfortable there, because I'm kind of used to like a faster paced environment just working in the service industry all growing up. You get to see and help so many different types of people, so many people. Like, you see such a wide variety of things, and you get these experiences that will truly help you out with like everyday life things. I like knowing that I can be the first person that somebody gets to see when they're coming to the hospital, because typically they don't feel well, they don't want to be there, they're in a really vulnerable spot, and that first interaction that you can have with that person can really set the tone for their entire experience there. And I just, like, I love people. I love talking to people. I'm literally sitting here talking to a camera right now, but I'm talking to you guys. And anyways, this isn't the point. I love the ER for multiple reasons. and I really wanted to get a job in the ER. Again, this is all totally subjective to where you live and the facilities that you're applying at. There is a city that I love in Oregon, and there is a hospital there. They strictly only hire new grads on medical or surgical. You have to do that for the first year. There's kind of like no ifs, ands, or buts. Even if you were a prior employee, it kind of seems like that's the process that everybody goes through and you follow, which I don't disagree with. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but where I am at and where I'm living right now, you do have the opportunity to get hired on into those specialty units. I know somebody that got on into labor and delivery. People are applying for the ICU, the PCU, the OR, just because we are graduating in kind of a weird time in history. I think we might have more opportunities to get into these specialties, whereas before it was much more competitive. And don't get me wrong, it's still very competitive. With that being said, I was checking the hospital's websites obsessively, often every single day, because sometimes they would have new grad postings for a certain floor but not another floor. It's just kind of really confusing. I wish it was organized in a better way, but it's just not. As soon as I saw openings for the ER, I applied for 2 hospitals in the ER. So you kind of go online, fill out some information about yourself, and then they may ask you a couple questions on that initial application. You attach your resume, a cover letter if you have that, and any sort of licenses that you have, which I just have my BLS. You kind of submit that and you wait to hear back. And as the steps continue, the hospitals will do different things. There was one that made me film a pre-interview interview where it was like 5 different questions, but I had 3 chances to answer the question. So I was like recording myself on my computer, and it was horrendous. Like, nobody in their right mind wants to watch their interview back. And if you do, damn, you're good at interviewing, because I would never ever want to watch myself interviewing. And so that was really hard. And then I feel like I was like having to like try to perfect my answers, and it was just, it was not my cup of tea. But so yeah, that was one thing. Although it is nice that they did give you 3 opportunities to re-answer a question, now that I think about it. Yeah, that was nice. And another facility asked to send in 5 different references, and so basically you list your reference name and number or email, and then the hospital will send them a message, and they kind of like do a rating on you and answer some questions. So all of this is like time consuming, and you're just like waiting around, waiting to get that email that you actually have an interview. And then I did. I was planning on applying for medical, surgical, even like PACU, anything, because I want a job and I want to start making money. And I know the first year is going to be kind of difficult no matter where you are, because you're learning time management, you're learning how to be a nurse. You know, right now we're learning how to do the things, but you're learning how to be on your own once you're done with school. I would just be grateful to get a job. So initially I decided I'm just gonna apply for ER. I'm gonna see how these interviews go, and then after that I will apply for other positions and floors. Got an email back, got an interview, and I was ecstatic. I was happy to have the opportunity, I guess you could say. My first interview was actually over the phone with one hospital. I think it was kind of just like a way to weed people out. They were briefly talking to people over the phone. And then after that, you made it to the next step, which was an in-person interview with a panel. And so I did the phone interview, and then at the end of it, they invited me to come in person and interview with them later that week, which was crazy. I wasn't expecting that, and I was super happy. I got an email that I received an interview with another hospital ER. That was exciting as well. At this point in time, I'm trying to pick out my attire that I'm gonna wear for these interviews, and then I start Googling a ton of nursing school interview questions. And I just want to make this statement to you guys, to something that I truly feel in my heart is true, because I did not have like a lot of healthcare I didn't have any healthcare experience starting nursing school. I only had experience working in the service industry, like as a barista, as a server. I did some management roles, and that is all I had. And then I tried to get in healthcare over summer in between my first and second year of nursing school, and I worked for a couple weeks in the OR, and then the surgery center closed down because of COVID. So that was really short-lived and temporary. Oh my gosh, this light is like bothering me. So with that being said, I just want to make it known that if you're in the same predicament as me, and if you've kind of felt like you're playing catch up or felt like you're kind of behind from everybody else starting school because everybody already has these patient experiences and interactions and knows how to do things that you've never seen done, or knows words that you've never even heard before, just know that when you graduate from school, you are all new grads. You're all little baby nurses. Somebody may have experience as a phlebotomist or an MA or a CNA or an EMT, and that's amazing because that only helps you, I truly think, be a better nurse. But don't ever make yourself feel less than if maybe you don't have some of those experiences, or maybe not as many years as other people, because I feel like when we're all interviewing for these positions in these hospitals, we're all kind of equal, and at the end of the day, they're going to hire somebody that they think is going to be a good fit for their facility, their floor, and things like that. So I just want to reiterate that, because I will be honest, and I've felt behind before in school when we were learning CNA skills, and there was a lot of people that knew things, and I was like, I have no idea how to transfer a patient. I would never even thought of something like this, and it was hard. It was a learning curve and a learning experience, and now that stuff is second nature. But I just wanted to kind of share that with you, so don't ever compare yourself, put yourself down. We're all in this together, and it really isn't a competition. Like, everybody that's graduating from nursing school wants everybody to get a job. We should all support one another and be so thankful that we all got through it together. Like, hell yeah, just think about that for a second, and that we're all entering healthcare in a time when we can get a job. I had a clinical instructor kind of talk with me about her experience, and for the first 8 months when she graduated a while ago, she couldn't even get a job in the hospital. And there's like phases of that in history where that's happened. So, you know, we're really fortunate. I just wanted to share that with you. So back to what I was saying. I had my in-person interview scheduled. I looked up a ton of questions on Google, questions that they could ask me. I was actually having my mom kind of play with me with that for like 30 minutes, ask me some questions, and just kind of bounce ideas back and forth, since she really knows me and my life and like my experiences, and she gave me some good ideas. Thank you, Mom, for that. And then when it was time for my interviews, I tried to put on nice clothes. If it was over Zoom, I just put on a nice shirt. I think it was in pajama pants and slippers. I mean, it is what it is, you know. I had to be comfortable. I feel like I'd interview better if I was comfortable. So that's how I did it for my Zoom interview. But then on my in-person one, I wore a nice outfit. Since I had these two interviews, I'm going to kind of compare and contrast them and give you some insight on what I got asked. The first question right off the bat that they always ask you is, tell me a little bit about yourself. Here is my opinion on that question. And you can have a different opinion, that's totally fine. But I think that at the end of the day, if you were hiring somebody, if you were the nurse manager or the charge nurse, you're going to hire somebody that you know you get along with, that you like, that you think your staff is going to get along with, and also somebody that you think is going to provide good patient care. And so when they ask that question, I think it's okay to briefly talk about your medical history, but I do think that they have your resume right in front of them, so they can clearly see that. They can also clearly see that you want to work for them because you're interviewing for them, and they can also clearly see that you're a new grad and a nursing student. So I think it's a really good opportunity to take that minute and talk about yourself, and talk about you and what makes you you and different and special, what you do in your free time, and how you relax, and what you love and what you're passionate about. Maybe that is nursing, and that's why you're in nursing school and all of that, but you did have a life before nursing school. I forgot about it, honestly. I was scrolling through pictures recently, and I was like, wow, I used to do so much fun stuff, and I really feel like I haven't done much while I was in school. But you need to like go back to those times where you really had time to enjoy other things, and maybe just talk about yourself and take a moment to reflect on you and what you love, and show your personality. I think that 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 is a great gateway for them to really kind of see who you are and for you to kind of shine. And it's a great way for maybe somebody to connect with you if you talk about, I mean, of course they talked about my son, my camper. Some of the people talked about their dogs, and we talked about dogs for a while. Who doesn't love dogs? Just wanted to share that tidbit. I think other questions are, why are you interested in this hospital? Why are you specifically interested in this floor? Which is why it's so important to do research on the hospital that you are having an interview with prior to going there. Look up their mission statement, look up their reviews. I forget what it's called, but you can see like, it's like a national level rating. I don't know what it is, but you can see ratings for different patient care experiences that they've gotten. So it would be really good to look at that and maybe mention that. And if you know somebody that works there, if you have family or friends, mention that. If you've had experiences there as a patient yourself, or if your family has had experience there being a patient and you visited, you know, share that. Share things like on a personal level in these interviews. Other questions that I feel like I got were, tell me about an altercation or like a moment where you had a controversy with like a patient or a coworker, and like how you handled and resolved conflict and like that situation, because they think they want to know how you do that. They don't want you to say, I've never had a problem before. You gotta pull from somewhere. On some of the questions, I truly wanted to try to pull all of my answers from my clinical experiences. I just couldn't. I haven't had certain experiences in clinical yet, and so I'd have to pull them from like past jobs, like as a barista or something like that. And I would just tell them like, I wish I could give you an answer related to healthcare, but I haven't had an experience like that yet, and I know I will, but I can relate it to a time when I was working at a coffee shop and here's what happened. Always be honest. Don't lie, don't make up a story. That's why it's really good to look at these interview questions ahead of time. You don't actually know exactly what they're going to ask you, but you can get an idea and you can start coming up with certain stories that can answer multiple questions that you can share, because it's always good to give an example and share a story rather than say, well, I would handle it like this. Like if you can give them an example, I feel like that really helps. And then I feel like from the stories and experiences that you're sharing, they'll ask a question like specifically from that and kind of carry on the conversation. That's basically that. The last question I always get is, do you have any questions for us? Always ask questions. Always ask questions. So have questions prepared before you go into the interview. They want to know that you're interested in working for them, and I'm sure you have questions. Even if it's as simple as, what is the most important thing you are looking for as an employee in this facility? Questions about when the new grad start date is, about their program, about the patient to nurse ratio, anything. There's so many questions that you can ask, and I think it's really important to do that to show interest, because they just ask you a ton, and I think you should ask questions. Maybe even ask individual questions about themselves too, because they will be your bosses if you get hired. And at the end of the day, you want to work in a good, positive environment, because that's where you're gonna spend so much of your time. Work is a lot of your life, and it better make you dang happy. I had my 2 interviews, and then guess what, guys? Guess what happened, guys? I got offered a position in the ER, not by one hospital, but by 2. By 2. I never, ever thought that this would happen. I've always talked about in my videos that I know everything will work out perfectly and how it's supposed to, but then sometimes, you know, I do get down on myself because I don't have a ton of experience and I applied later than other people. And so I just want to tell you again, like, do not compare yourself. Do not ever compare yourself. And most importantly, just be yourself, because everything will work out the way that it's supposed to. Yeah, I got offered 2 positions, and then I had to make a really tough decision. So I want to thank my sister for helping me navigate that. It was tough, and I know I might sound really silly saying that, like, oh, it's tough to choose between 2 places that I really want to work, which I'm really fortunate that I got the opportunity. Hospitals offer, you know, different things. There's pros and cons about all of them, and so I really had to try to choose the decision that I thought was best for me, and I did. I accepted a position in the ER with a facility, and I am so excited. I will officially start working in the middle of August. upon my NCLEX passing grade status in July, so I'll keep you guys posted on all of that. But that is where I'm at right now. I started to get kind of emotional the other night because I got sent some paperwork that I have to sign. It's my offer letter with like all the details, and it felt, it feels so surreal, like that I'm here at this point, that nursing school is almost over and I'm going to be working and caring for people and making money again. Oh my gosh, I can't express how excited I am for that. But just like have a freaking career and like work where I want to work, and it's crazy signing that offer letter and accepting it after all of these years of school. And that's something that I think people don't understand either. I know nursing school is different everywhere, but where I live, it's kind of this whole process. Like, you have all these prerequisites that you have to do, and people volunteer and they have to get healthcare hours and experience, and then you apply for nursing school and you can apply for several years in a row. It's just like this long process. It's not just like done and easy and over. It's a long process. It's time consuming, it costs a lot of money, it takes your energy. And so to finally get to this point, like I've been talking with my friend today, it's crazy. It's so crazy, and I am literally so happy. And I just want to say thank you to you guys for watching my channel and supporting me. You guys have truly helped me pay for my education, and your words of encouragement have made my day. I've really lifted my spirits up in hard times throughout this journey, because it hasn't been, you know, all rainbows and butterflies. It's been difficult at times. And so I just want to say thank you, especially those of you who have supported my small business, because that has like financially helped me a lot too, because I have not been able to work in this last term of school. And so I owe so much to you guys. And I just want to say, don't ever feel discouraged, and don't ever feel like you can't do something, that you're not good enough. Stop comparing yourselves to others. I know it's so much easier said than done, but at the end of the day, like, it's just such a waste of time. Like, you could be sitting here comparing yourself to somebody, and they're probably comparing themselves to you, and it's just like maddening. And you also don't know the entirety of someone, and they don't know the entirety of you, and it's just, there's just better things that you could be doing with your time. Like, as soon as you find yourself going there, like, stop it. You have to stop it. And you're the only one that can do that. I feel like I sound like my mom right now. So I just wanted to kind of share with you guys what the heck is going on in my life, and give you a brief update and shed some insight on the nurse residency situation. I think I will make a video this summer going to a lot more detail and depth about interviews and questions and applying, but right now I just got a lot going on and I got a lot of studying to do. So yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys what's going on. To those of you graduating soon, congratulations. I'm sure you are so relieved and so happy, and then on the other side of it, freaking out about the NCLEX. Me too, I'm right there with you, but we are all in this together. So again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, for all of your kind, wonderful words, and I'm just so grateful for this little community we have through YouTube. So thank you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!